Most videos about Lakewood Ranch, they all sound the same. Golf, great schools, pickleball, sunshine. It's like everybody read the same brochure and just hit record. So today's video, let's not do that. Today I want to talk about the things that we're not supposed to be grateful for that most people actually complain about. But here's the twist. Those are the exact reasons that life just works here. Let's go. All right, first up, traffic. University Parkway at 5 p.m. Yeah, you might as well bring a snack, pop on a podcast because you are not going anywhere quick. Not anytime soon. Sunday morning at Waterside Place, when the farmer's market's going on, you are not getting through that roundabout anytime soon. But here's the thing, traffic means that people just actually want to be here. You're certainly not sitting in gridlock if you live in a ghost town. Empty roads might sound peaceful, but they're usually the sign of one thing. People don't really want to live there. But here in Lakewood Ranch, traffic means demand. It means restaurants are full, it means stores are busy, homes are selling, well, kind of sort of selling. And yeah, people are willing to wait in line to be a part of this community. That is not a problem, that is just proof. Now, don't get me wrong. It definitely can be annoying that it takes you an extra 15 minutes to go 2 miles on the rain road when school lets out. But that also means that parents are comfortable sending their kids to those schools. And when traffic backs up on Main Street during Music on Main, that is just thousands of people voting with their feet, proving that this place has a heartbeat and not just rooftops. And let's be honest, traffic gives us something that we all can just bond over. Every community needs its universal icebreaker, right? Some people complain about taxes, some people complain about the weather. And here in Lakewood Ranch, it's the traffic, proving once again that the media is wrong and that we're not really all that different, are we? It's the conversation starter at the gym, at the dog park, even online at Publix. Can you believe how bad that traffic was on University Parkway this morning? Boom, instant connection with your neighbor. So yeah, traffic here, it can definitely be a pain sometimes. But it's also a sign that Lakewood Ranch is alive and thriving and in demand, and I'll take a few extra minutes at a stoplight here over sitting in the fast lane of a city that most people are trying to escape from. All right, next up, we're talking about HOA fees. Nothing says welcome to the neighborhood like a strongly worded letter about your front door color not being the approved shade of beige. Or maybe it's a polite reminder that your trash can sat at the curb for, 4 minutes too long. If you live here, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Now on the surface, that stuff just feels ridiculous. Nobody moves to Florida dreaming of HOA letters. But let's flip that. Those same rules are the reasons that Lakewood Ranch neighborhoods look like they were plucked right out of a magazine. No peeling paint, no jungle yards with 3 broken down cars parked in them, and no next door neighbors with neon green front doors. And here's where that really matters, property values. HOAs are the silent guard dogs of your equity. Hey, real quick on a side note, I did a video not too long ago talking about the Florida congressman who talked about banning HOAs. I did a video on this channel, I'll link it down below. And then I took a clip, one clip, maybe a minute long, posted it on TikTok. That video has about 240,000 views and maybe 3,000 comments. Gotta say, you guys have some opinions about HOAs, huh? That slightly overzealous rule about landscaping height, that is why your backyard view is a preserve and not your neighbor's DIY jungle gym. The restrictions on RVs in the driveways, that is why buyers pull into your street and they say, wow, everything looks so well kept. Clean neighborhoods sell for more, period. That's worth repeating. Clean neighborhoods sell for more, period. Plus, let's be real, HOAs, they definitely save you from neighborhood drama. Imagine having to personally tell Bob across the street that his yard looks like a landfill. Awkward, right? Instead, you could just sip your coffee and let the HOA take the heat. They're like the referee in a game that you just don't even want to play. So, do people push back? Sure, everybody jokes about the HOA police, right? But deep down, we're kind of thankful for them because the alternative, it isn't freedom. The alternative is chaos. And chaos is not why people move to Lakewood Ranch. So yeah, thank you HOA rules. Thank you for beige paint. Thank you for front door police. You keep our neighborhoods looking sharp and our home value steady and our sanity intact. All right, next, let's talk about our daily 3 p.m. thunderstorms. Well, at least June, July, August, a little bit of September. If you've lived here longer than a week, then you know the drill. Clear skies all morning, maybe a little breeze, and then right around mid-afternoon, boom. The sky turns black, the lightning show kicks in, and you're sprinting to get the dog back inside. And on the surface, it kind of feels like a nuisance, right? Golfers get mad, dog walkers get soaked, and parents are stuck waiting in the school pickup line while the rain pounds the windshield. But here's the flip side. Without those afternoon showers, Lakewood Ranch, well, wouldn't look like Lakewood Ranch. The grass wouldn't stay green, the preserves wouldn't be lush, and those lakes wouldn't shimmer the way they do at sunset. You'd be staring at brown lawns, cracked sidewalks, not tropical landscaping that looks like a resort brochure. And let's be honest, those thunderstorms, they're kind of amazing, right? That Florida lightning, it is like nature's fireworks show, and we get it for free almost every day in the summer. And after the storm, those sunsets. If you ever sat on your lie with a drink in hand, watching the sun turn neon orange, pink, and purple, you know exactly what I mean. Those skies are jaw-dropping, and they only happen because of the storms. And plus those afternoon rains, they kind of come with a little silver lining. It forces you to just slow down just a bit. It's like Mother Nature saying, hey man, just take a break. Go inside, cool off, play a board game with the kids, or just enjoy the sound of rain on the roof. Back up north, rain means gray skies for 3 days straight. Here, it's a 45-minute reset button, and then the sun is back like nothing ever happened. So yeah, thank you, Florida thunderstorms. You might cancel a tea time or two, but you give us green grass, epic sunsets, and a built-in excuse to pour a glass of wine at 3:30 in the afternoon. And honestly, who's mad at that? Okay, next up, construction noise. If you have lived here longer than a week, then you probably have been woken up by the sweet sound of a nail gun at 7:02 a.m., or maybe you sat behind a cement truck on Lakewood Ranch Boulevard wondering if you're ever going to see daylight again. It's annoying for sure. Nobody dreams of paying top dollar for a home just to get a front row seat to Extreme Makeover Suburb Edition. But here's the deal. That noise is the soundtrack to demand. It means that this community is still booming, still building, and that people still want to be here. And not just random growth, it's actually planned growth. New schools, new restaurants, new parks, new villages. The very things that make Lakewood Ranch the #1 master plan community in the country don't just materialize. They come with hammering and sawing, and yes, the constant beep, beep, beep of a truck in reverse. And believe me, I kind of feel like I notice this more than anybody. Try filming your videos with construction noise in the background. Now, if you've noticed, most of my videos this time of year, I'm filming inside because changing my shirt 5, 6, 7 times while doing videos outside in the summer doesn't work. But when I'm filming outside, I promise you that construction noise has stopped more videos than you can even imagine. Try filming videos like this with construction noise going on. Nothing kills a heartfelt point about lifestyle faster than a jackhammer firing up in the background. Half of my outtakes are just me staring at a bulldozer. But here's the thing, that is just the price of growth. If it were silent, if nobody was building, if there weren't cranes in the sky and dump trucks rolling past, that would mean that nobody wanted to be here. And that, unfortunately, is not the Lakewood Ranch that most people want to be in. So yeah, construction noise definitely can be a headache. But that's also proof that this place is alive. Every nail gun, every concrete pour, every orange cone is just another sign that we are living in a community that people are fighting to be a part of. And if the worst thing that I have to deal with is recording a video 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times, well, I think it's kind of worth it. But if I'm being honest, if I had $1 for every time I went, I'd be very rich. And the worst is the sound of that beep, beep, beep of those trucks going in reverse. Hey, real quick too, if you are thinking about making a move to Lakewood Ranch and you are not sure, do me a big favor. Scan this QR code. There'll be a link in the description down below. That is to my calendar. You can schedule a 15-minute discovery call. There's no pressure. There's no obligations. All right, next up, let's talk about the wildlife here. If you move here thinking that it's all manicured lawns and picture-perfect preserves, you are in for a surprise because every so often, Florida likes to remind you that this is still the wild. Case in point, gators. You buy a brand new home, the builder brags about your sparkling pond view, and a week later, boom, there's a 6-foot lizard sunbathing out like he owns the place. And the funny thing is, it kind of does. That pond was not built for you. It has been home to a creature that has been here for millions of years. You're just the new neighbor. And it's not just the gators. The sandhill cranes, they own this place. You'll see them strutting across Lakewood Ranch Boulevard like they're late for a board meeting and traffic actually stops for them. Whole line of cars just sitting there while 2 birds slowly cross the street, screaming at each other like grumpy old men. And yeah, they are loud, real loud. If you've ever been on a Zoom call, or in my case, recording a video and suddenly you hear what sounds like dinosaurs in the background, that's just the cranes reminding you who's the boss. And even the little stuff keeps things interesting. Turtles holding up golfers on the course, armadillos digging up flower beds like they're looking for buried treasure, hawks snatching fish out of your lake while you're sipping coffee on the lanai. And of course, you don't get that up north, and a lot of people, they kind of hate it. But me personally, I think it's one of the best parts about living here. And why? Because it's Florida, because it's real Florida. And if a gator floating in the pond or a pair of cranes blocking traffic is the worst thing that we have to deal with, well, I'll take it. It's much more interesting than pigeons in New York City. All right, next up, everybody's favorite. I'm talking about fees. HOA fees, amenity fees, community fees, fees. If you live here, you know the drills. The bills just keep coming and coming and coming. Certainly nobody gets excited about writing those checks every quarter. Well, not literally writing checks. But here's the reality. Those fees are the secret sauce that makes Lakewood Ranch look and feel the way it does. You think the miles of manicured trails trim themselves? You think the resort-style swimming pools magically stay crystal clear? You think the landscaping fairy just shows up in the middle of the night with fresh mulch and flowers? No, that's your HOA at work, and like it or not, you're paying for it. Now, of course, people are going to complain. They're going to say their fees are too high. Sure. But what do you actually get for them? Pools that don't look like they belong at a roadside motel, clubhouses you actually want to bring guests to, parks and playgrounds and pickleball courts and tennis courts and community events, even little things like ponds that don't turn into swampy mosquito pits. Try finding that in a community with low fees. Spoiler alert, you're probably not. All right, so let's compare. Up north, you may not be paying HOA fees, but you're paying for it somehow. Snow removal, cracked roads, city taxes, aging infrastructure. You want to be shoveling your driveway at 6 a.m. in January? No way, be my guest. I'd rather write an HOA check, sip my coffee in 70-degree weather while somebody else handles the landscaping. Don't get me wrong, are there times where it feels ridiculous? Yeah, absolutely. Nobody likes debating $200 assessments to replace pool furniture, right? But let's not forget, and let's make no mistake about it, those fees protect your home values. They make sure that when buyers pull into your neighborhood, they see a place that looks like a resort and not a yard sale. And in real estate, perception is reality. So yeah, thank you HOA fees, because without you, Lakewood Ranch, well, wouldn't be Lakewood Ranch. Would you rather grumble while writing that check or live in a place where the only community amenity is a busted swing set and a retention pond full of weeds? All right, let's talk about the one thing that nobody can ignore, and that is the heat and its little sidekick, humidity. Step outside in August and it hits you like a wall, the kind of wall that fogs up your sunglasses, frizzes your hair, makes you question why you thought walking the dog at 2 p.m. was a good idea. But here's the thing, as much as people complain about the heat is what makes Florida, Florida. At least we don't have to shovel snow, right? That's why nobody here is breaking their back, scraping ice off the windshield at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's why we can golf in January while half the country is buried under 3 feet of snow. And the humidity, well, think of the humidity as nature's free spot treatment. Who needs a fancy sauna when you got Lakewood Ranch in July? Sweat out all your toxins just walking from the Publix back to your car. You might go through 3 shirts a day. I've been there, but hey, at least your pores are glowing. But there's also a secret sauce to that heat. Keeps the crowds away. Keeps the crowds seasonal. Because let's be honest, not everybody can handle that Florida heat. Snowbirds, they fly back north right about the time you're wringing out your shirt for the 3rd time, which means fewer lines at the restaurants, more open tea times, and less traffic on Main Street. That's the locals' reward. We endure the sauna, we get the perks. And here's the kicker. You kind of get used to it, right? Well, most people kind of get used to it. After a while, 88 kind of feels normal, and 72 inside kind of feels cold. You'll be the one grabbing a hoodie in December while friends up north are still scraping ice off their driveways. So yeah, thank you heat and humidity. You make us sweat, you ruin our hair, you test our deodorant. But you also give us year-round outdoor living, bragging rights to our freezing relatives, and a built-in reminder that paradise isn't perfect, but it's still paradise. All right, next up, let's talk about the neighbors. In Lakewood Ranch, a 10-minute dog walk just doesn't exist. You step outside with good intentions, I'll be back in 10, and 45 minutes later, you're standing on the sidewalk, leash in hands, listening to a full recap of last night's HOA meeting, the new pickleball league drama, and who's selling their house down the street. It's the kind of thing that can drive you nuts, especially if you're in a rush. You'll be standing there, sweating through your shirt, trying to be polite, inching away with your dog still sitting there like, really? Another 20 minutes of this? But here's the flip side. This is how community actually happens. You see this in a lot of places. There's a lot of people who have no idea of their neighbors' names. You'll live somewhere for 10 years and all you can say is, hey, how's it going? Not here in Lakewood Ranch. You kind of get to know your neighbors. You probably know their kids' names. You probably know their dogs' names. You probably know, well, a little more than you care to know. But that's just one of those things that makes this place feel alive. It's not just a collection of houses, it's actually a neighborhood. But let's be honest, sometimes chatty neighbors, they can be a safety net. You go on vacation, somebody's watching your house. Your kid's bike gets left in the driveway, somebody sends you a text message. You forget it's trash day, promise you, 3 neighbors, they're gonna let you know. And that kind of connection doesn't happen in neighborhoods where people just hide behind the garage doors. Now, can that get overwhelming? Sure. Yeah, especially when you just want to get home and somebody corners you with their 12-step theory about why the pool chairs keep disappearing. But deep down, we're all kind of thankful for it, right? Because the truth is, people move here for the amenities and the schools and the lifestyle, but they stay here because of the relationships. So yeah, thank you, chatty neighbors. You derail our schedules, you hijack our dog walks, and you keep us standing in the sun for way too long. But you also make Lakewood Ranch kind of feel like home. And that's something that you just can't put in a brochure. And finally, let's talk about the big one, Lakewood Ranch's reputation for kind of being kind of vanilla. Now believe me, I did a full video on why Lakewood Ranch is kind of vanilla, I'll link that in the description down below. And I'm sure you've heard it before too, right? Lakewood Ranch, oh, it's too clean, it's too cookie cutters, no edge. Basically, it's a suburbia version of just being boring. And look, I get it, we certainly do not have the nightlife that they have in Miami. There's nobody walking down Main Street, Lakewood Ranch, looking for a taco truck at 2 o'clock in the morning. And yeah, some of the villages here, they can feel a little too perfectly planned, like somebody laid out the streets with a ruler. But here's the truth. Boring is what people are actually paying for. And vanilla is why Lakewood Ranch actually works. It means that your kids can ride their bikes without you worrying. It means that when family comes to visit, they actually want to stay in your neighborhood and not in a hotel. It means that the loudest drama that you'll deal with is whether or not somebody's front door is the right shade of beige. And let's be real, vanilla, it's not a bad flavor. It's actually the base for everything else. Clean, safe, consistent. Property values tend not to tank in vanilla communities. You know who else likes vanilla? Insurance companies. Families like vanilla. Retirees like vanilla. Vanilla is stable, and in real estate, stability, it is gold. Plus, the so-called boring parts are what allow everything else to shine. Waterside concerts, Sunday farmers markets, polo matches, golf tournaments, pickleball leagues, they all thrive because the foundation is safe, structured, and well-run. You cannot build a vibrant lifestyle on chaos. So yeah, Lakewood Ranch, it's kind of vanilla. But if vanilla comes with A-rated schools and low crime, manicured trails, and neighbors who actually care, then I'll take 2 scoops with extra sprinkles, please. Because let's face it, people don't move to Lakewood Ranch for the edge. They move here for peace of mind. And peace of mind is worth being thankful for. So there you have it. We just said thank you for traffic jams, and HOA rules, and daily rain showers, and construction noise, and gators in the pond, and high fees, humidity that makes you sweat through your shirt, neighborhoods who talk your ear off, and a reputation for being vanilla. Basically, all the things that people love to complain about. But here's the twist. Those are all the things that make Lakewood Ranch, well, what it is. They are not flaws, they are features. They are proof that this community is alive and thriving and in demand. Because let's be honest, if there weren't traffic, nobody would want to live here. If there weren't rules, the neighborhoods wouldn't look like they do. If there weren't fees, the amenities would crumble. And if they weren't just a little vanilla, it wouldn't feel as safe or stable as it does. And that is why we're thankful for the things that we're not really supposed to be thankful for. Because it's not just about palm trees, sunshines, and pretty homes. It's about living in a place where even the quirks and the annoyances add up to something special. And look, I can say this because my wife and I, we live here too. I have dealt with the traffic. I have received letters from my HOA, actually 2 times just this year. I have dealt with sandhill cranes ruining my videos, or at least delaying my videos. I've had videos ruined by construction noise more times than I can even tell you. I've had neighbors stop me for long-winded stories. I've had to change my shirt 3, 4, sometimes 5 times while recording videos outside. Now, I'm not sure if I'm the one who coined the term Lakewood Ranch is vanilla, but it is vanilla, and we kind of like it. Because in the end, Lakewood Ranch isn't perfect. It's not meant to be perfect, but it's definitely a community that people want to be a part of. And for all of its quirks and frustrations and little headaches, it's one of the best places in the country to call home. And that right there is why we're thankful. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for considering us as your go-to real estate agent in Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch. We'll see you next time, everyone.